This guy knew he should have left way, way, way long ago. This was a client from about 8 or 9 years ago. He had been married for about 40 years. This was one of the hardest stories I'd ever heard. That's why it stands out nearly a decade later. We'll call this guy Larry. So Larry had been married 40 years. He had been on, this is what, about 2017, so yeah, 8 years ago, maybe 2016. And he'd been on his personal development journey, reading books, going to seminars, joining men's groups, things like that, eating healthy, lifting weights, yoga, and green smoothies or whatever, but just doing a lot of stuff. Growth was obviously really, really, really important to him. And I'll never forget when he told me this. At this point, he was, like I said, about 40 years in. And he'd gotten to a certain point in his life and in our coaching where he'd gotten a ton of results. He was really content and also still looking to learn and grow more. And he's like, I got this money, my body's great, my connection with, the universe, with God is great. I got these kids, these grandkids, I have these practices, these whatever it was, and I'm meditation, working out, reading. And he's like, the only thing that's not really there is my relationship. And I was like, well, tell me about it. He's like, it hasn't been good in a long time. He's like, I've been just too afraid to leave. I got 5 kids, I got a dozen grandkids. What could happen now? I'm old, I'm 70 or 68, whatever he was. But he's like, I knew about 12 years in, this wasn't it. Now, me being the coach, I'm not just gonna listen to that, because he could be downplaying his relationship, not appreciating it, not showing up, so he told me some more. He's like, about 12 years in, I noticed it had been a pattern of a couple years about not only that she didn't want to support me in me being a better man, in learning and growing and doing these different things to challenge myself, she'd actually not understand it and kind of make fun of it. Oh, you're going to another seminar. Oh, you're doing another, workout routine. Oh, another book. When is it going to be enough? Excuse me. It became pretty clear at the 12-year mark. Now, it gets much worse. This continued for almost another 3 decades. He was like 28 years late for his divorce. At that point, it's not my job as a coach to tell him, hey, you're 70 years old, I think you need to leave. That's never my role. If there's physical violence, that is my role. To tell someone they need to leave. I don't know what someone's spirit, what someone's soul is supposed to learn. I don't know if they want to sit in that suffering. But at this point, he's in pretty deep, right? Like I said, he's like 28 years late for his own divorce. And when Larry told me that, I just fell for him. Because it's probably never going to change. And he gave me permission to share some of these things, especially the guys, or all these things rather. And as of a year ago, Larry was, 48 years in. Something inside you knows that no ayahuasca ceremony, no coach, no workout, no book, none of that stuff is going to give you. You meditating, taking a long walk in the woods, sitting alone with your thoughts, your heart, your anger, your rage, your sadness, your fear, that'll get you there. But no one can tell you that. People can ask you questions that can help you uncover the conclusion and the truth that's already in your heart, but no one can tell you. Why this story is relevant is because that was, for me as the coach listening on the other end, that was one of the most painful stories I ever heard. And when he told me that story, part of his message was, tell their guys they can get out. He wishes he would have. He's not gonna. It's less painful, so he said, from last time we talked. But also, imagine if you know a stove is hot, but you put your fingertips on it, you get burned, and maybe you're still gonna keep touching it. You could inject Novocaine, so your fingers are numb, so when you touch it, you don't feel the heat, you don't feel the burning. But the pain is still there, the damage is still there. If you've watched it this far, you're a guy who's different, that relationships are more important to you than the majority of men, probably 90% of men. Or it feels really important right now because you're going through it. You just had a breakup, or you're on the fence. Do I get divorced? Do I leave? Do I get married? I'm engaged. Why should I feel like this? Is this really the right woman? Better question, are you really showing up as the right guy? And the reality is sometimes the woman's just not a fit. Give you something real quick, microwave coaching session. If your values and your vision don't align, and she's not only aligned, I just say ideally that she's excited. She's like, oh my God, someone like you exists. Oh my God. That she's so excited. If the values and vision don't align, you can stay for 50 years, man. It's gonna be painful. I remember when I started doing these interviews, I'm 40 now, I was 27. And it started weird. I went to a seminar, they talked about relationships. I knew you can make a relationship vision. I was like, that's cool, I didn't know. That was like mind-blowing information at 27. It's like, you can just write down 10 things you want that you know you really need and just date people that have that. Like, holy shit, I didn't know. So I was young, goofy, naive, curious, excited to grow. So I was talking to relatives at weddings and funerals. I was probably not that popular to be around. Like, I'll go into another seminar. I did. And I remember talking to someone, they've both since passed, I won't say their names. And I told them this, I said, do you know, you can just like write 10 things down and then know that and go on a date and then just see if this person has those 10? And I'll never forget, she looked at him, and it was just, it hurt me, man. She looked at him like, I wouldn't have picked you. And in their dynamic, you know that playful teasing that sometimes older couples have, or that's what it seems like? I would actually say it's humor and disguised as, it's what seems like playful teasing, but it's actually resentment disguised as playful teasing. And when I think of this guy, my client from years ago, Larry, and I think of this couple, and they both married 40 some years or whatever it was, it sucks. It's painful. If you're in that situation, I have compassion for you, man. It's hard. I've been in versions like that, not married, but shorter, and especially when you love a person or you're not really sure in yourself or there's confusion, it's rough. Something in you knows. Something in you fucking knows. You don't need another YouTube video. You don't need another seminar. Those things are great. I do all that stuff. You don't need another ayahuasca. You don't need another retreat. I believe in those things. I do those things too. Something in you already knows. And if we haven't been challenged to confront our truth and who we really are, what we really want, that can be covered up. Or if we have this pain from when we were a kid, which is more common than you think. Yep, guys have inner child, like an inner child as well. I didn't believe that years ago. I thought it was wimpy and weak, and you have an inner 5-year-old, bro. And he can be pissed off, frustrated, hurt, confused. And I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to take financial advice from a 5-year-old or let a 5-year-old drive my truck. And sometimes that's how we're living our life. When we have these things that are unresolved, we're not challenged by the right peer group, by the right guys, or we just have pain that we haven't processed, and sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that we have it, or it makes us weak, or it makes us this, or it makes us that. Chances are you're going to stay in a tough situation and do the wrong thing. And this is when I realized, not the wrong thing, by the way, an incorrect thing that really doesn't serve you. There's not a wrong thing or a right thing. This is when I realized a lot of people that have been together for decades, they're not enjoying themselves. They're not happy. They're not fulfilled. Because back then, that's what I thought was the marker of success. Oh, you been married 40 years? What's your secret? There's not really one. Now, does that mean that couples that have been married that long aren't good together? That's not what I'm saying. But if you look at divorce statistics, and it's pushing 60%. So if you sit in a room with 20 couples, right? Like a dozen of those are not going to be together in, could be a year, could be a decade. You already know you need to get the shit out of your way so you can listen to you, listen to your heart, have the courage and the strength in your balls, because a lot of us as men, we're neutered or declawed, defanged, stumbling through life, confused, fearful. Know who you are, know what you want, and it's hard, but you gotta say no to all the rest. Whether you're in a marriage, whether you just started dating some girl who she's hot and you know it's not the one. Not the one, that's a scarcity-based term, but someone that you can really build something magnificent. If you don't know who you are, and she doesn't match your values and vision, you will be in pain and it won't get better. You can get numb to it, you can drink, you can smoke weed, you can put Novocaine on your fingers so when you touch the stove it doesn't burn. Oh, that's right, it still does. Just, you're numb. Something to reflect on. Even better, something to confront yourself tonight on. See you soon, gents.